Welcome! I'm going to go over the game plan and reveal secrets that are a little bit more advanced than you might have heard in the past. Alright? This isn't a business model like you're going to make $30 a day with Craigslist or you're going to upload a review video of an affiliate product. This is more of how to do what you see the big boys doing. Let's go over some of these strategies here with this business model, and I hope you enjoy it. It's going to be very, very eye-opening, and it's the real deal. It's actual stuff. I'm not afraid to scare the heck out of you because it might seem a little bit complicated. It might seem a little bit hard to do, but this is the big money stuff. So if you want to do $100,000 a month, this is kind of the way to think about it. All right? So the way this is set up here is you're going to start here. Your mind is going to be focused on the industry and then the market, and then you're going to do some keyword research. You're going to pick your niche within the industry and the market, right? So on and so forth. But something you have to realize is that you're also at the same time, like simultaneously, going to be thinking about this, right? The product. You're also going to be thinking about all of this. You're going to be thinking about like, hey, cool things I can do in this industry in terms of my presentation, like the video sales letter and stuff like that, right? So I'm not saying like, hey, the first thing to do is this, and then the next thing to do is that. You know what? This isn't really like a linear mindset. And what that means is like, it's not the type of thing where you just have like, you're concentrated on one thing. I mean, people tell you put on blinders, you know what I mean? Like, just concentrate. And what people mean by that is like, close the door, just shut off your phone, maybe even turn off the air conditioning or whatever. I just did that because I was going to do a video, right? But at the same time, like when you're thinking about it, you're going to be thinking, hey, I got to always think about the product, right? Like if you're just thinking about like, hey, how can I sell to these people? What can I sell them and stuff? That's not really very ethical, is it? It's kind of scammy to like not care about what you're going to be delivering people. You know what I mean? So, all right, that was my intro. Let's jump into it, all right? All right, so industries. Obviously, you're going to cross-reference your own abilities, your own resources, websites that you already have, accolades that you already have. For instance, if you are a fitness trainer, right? You might want to consider going into the fitness training industry, right? If you're an accountant, you might want to go into like some software or like an app that helps out in terms of accounting or taxes or something like that, right? So you get the drift when we're talking about industry. The next thing is what I mean by market is within an industry, like industries are gigantic, right? So when I say fitness, you can think to yourself like, oh my God, it's, you know, like a million things fit inside of fitness, and there's all sorts of different like products and stuff and services and all sorts of stuff like that. So the market is kind of like, hey, we figured out we're going to go in the fitness industry because we're really good at it or whatever. Well, so what are we going to be doing? Are we going to be selling like gym equipment, or are we going to be selling supplements, or are we going to be selling ebooks, etc.? That's kind of why I did that. Those two was to, you know, explain that, hey, it's not just, hey, we're going to pick the industry and we're going to like all of a sudden build a product and we make all this money. All right, you're going to have to decide like, you know, what type of application to that industry, right? So after you've figured out these things, and remember, you already got your mind on this and this and these and, you know, business structure, all this stuff, you've already figured all that stuff out, and now we're going to jump into keyword research. Okay, and what that means is now that we've figured out, hey, we're going to sell supplements within the fitness industry for something or other, right? That's this niche. The reason why keyword research is before niche is now cross-reference it with like Google Analytics, etc. There's a ton of little keyword services out there. You can figure it out, like Google AdWords, for instance, Facebook ads, for instance. Like, do that ahead of time so that you don't go through all this work and build a product and then you're like, oh crap, this niche sucks. There's no traffic, right? So this is kind of like, hey, you know, dot your I's and cross your T's ahead of time. So now you're in your niche, you're gonna be like, yo, I'm going to figure out exactly, you know, based on the keywords, like how is that going to fit in? Like, you know, who am I going to market my supplements to, right? Am I going to market my supplements towards people who are diabetics, or am I going to market my supplements towards people who are overweight, or people who are looking to build muscle, etc. Right? Man, I can't even believe I'm teaching this fitness thing. I know nothing about the fitness niche, but I've seen like clients and people in my webinars for years are in it. So to be honest with you, I'd probably be really good at it if I went into it, but I'm like skinny, so I've never done weight loss or anything. All right, anyway, so now you've picked your niche, you've got all your ducks in a row, right? Now, this is the fun part, right? Branding ideas. This is when you get to come up with a cool brand name like weightlosspro.com or something, right? Now, you're gonna also think about a whole bunch of really cool things, right? This is going into domain name too. You're going to search for domains as your branding because, heck, you don't want to pick a brand name and then the domain's not available. It's great to pick a .com, right? There are some exceptions like .net, .co, stuff like that. But that's usually like, I'll give you an example. I did a launch where I did a .co, and it wasn't like the type of thing I was going to be using the search engines for. It wasn't the type of thing where I was going to like go on the radio and talk about it. It was more private. It was more of like a, you know, just for affiliates, and therefore that was the idea. Like if you want to do like a really big brand, sometimes, like for instance, I got domainerelite.com, right? That's a kind of complicated sounding brand name. It's not like instantsites.com, right? So you're going to be able to find, you'll be able to find a .com easier if your domain name, like the words in your domain name, are more complicated, obviously, right? Like it's harder to find a .com that's like simpler and stuff, right? So that's so much fun, like the branding idea. The second thing is you should invest in a logo, like a really good one, all right? Now, if you're great at Photoshop already, like that's awesome. You can design your logo if you want, but it takes time. And I'm going to be doing another chart where we talk about you've either got like big brains, and if you have big brains, your time is more valuable, and therefore you have less time, right? Now, if you have more time and small brains, no offense to anyone, right? But just hear me out. Then, and I can do a whole new lesson on this, right? Then the person with the big brains hires the person that has more time with small brains. I hate to say it sounds terrible, but this is why I need to teach this to you, right? Because if you're not using your brain, first of all, I believe anyone can use their brain. Anyone can just sit there and just do ideas all day. And then when you get your ideas, what are you going to do? Are you going to spend now all of a sudden more time and not sleep and implement those ideas? No, it's kind of like one person has to do the ideas and the other person has to do the implementation. In other words, you're probably, if you're a big idea person, you're probably going to have like multiple people implementing the ideas, right? That's how you make a ton of money, is by being the idea guy with the big brains with less time, and then the person with smaller brains and more time is going to be affordable. Like you're going to be able to hire that person, right? That's how it goes. That's life, unfortunately, right? So when it comes to this, you're like thinking up ideas, right? You're like, hey, I want to, you know, I want to do like, make it look like this, and I'm going to design this amazing logo, and you know, you're going to hire someone. Heck, we use 99 Designs, where there's like 30 different designs done by all these different designers, and it's a contest, and you get the most insane looking logo that way, right? So, but we're getting ahead of ourselves. You need to make sure that your domain name is badass, right? And you need to make sure that it's like later on down the road, you're not going to regret having gotten this domain name, like no one can pronounce it, or it looks funny because it's like, you know, like the first word, it's a 2-word domain name, and the first word is a plural, and then the next word is sites. So it's like there's 2 S's in the middle and stuff. That sucks, you know? So you're going to think up your domain name. Sometimes it can be 3 words, you know? I mean, don't stress over it, but make sure it's freaking cool, you know what I mean? And it represents exactly what you're looking to do. Like if your traffic is going to, you know, the people coming to your website is going to be like all like business opportunity people or like internet marketing people, you might want to consider like, hey, let them know that there's like commissions or cash or something like that. That type of word will be in your domain name, obviously, right? But you also want to think about it like, hey, does it look too hypey? Like some places I might not be able to get advertising if it looks too hypey or something like that. So you want to like kind of like play devil's advocate in your mind when you're thinking about all this stuff, you know? So second of all, now you have your domain name, build your page, right? Create a cPanel. That's here, you know, your name servers. That's in your host, in your GoDaddy or wherever you host your domain names. I use GoDaddy and aplus.net and can't even remember a couple of the other ones. So you do your name servers and you got your cPanel. Now your templates, what do you want the website to look like? Basically, when you're starting off, your home page, like the index page, like for instance, if you go to advancedonlinebusiness.com, we haven't launched advancedonlinebusiness.com, and so you're going to see like there's just a logo and index and an opt-in and links at the bottom. You know what I mean? That's cool because you're going to have these pages, which is probably going to end up being like, you know, advancedonlinebusiness.com/something. And then that's the funnel, right? And that's what the affiliate links will be connected to, etc. Right? So you've gone through all of this, right? Now you have a website up, right? Now memorize this and picture this in your mind. The most important things are like these 4 pages, right? So you got your index page, which is like a squeeze page. Also, in the future, you're not going to want a squeeze page if you're looking to do SEO, etc. You might want to like an actual site with links and stuff like that. Check out thesingingguru.com for an example. Next, you're going to have like an order page, which is like the, hey, order here. And the reason you have that is like, hey, you might have like a whole sales presentation on the radio or on TV, like an infomercial, or you might do a webinar, and you might do some type of workshop or from a group where you've already talked about it and you've already done all your sales spiel and all of that stuff, and therefore no one wants to come there. They're just like, oh, I already know this, and that can hurt your conversions. And that's why sometimes you want to just drive people to an order page. This whole thing is your sales page, and I'm sorry, I should have pointed that out, and this is kind of like the funnel, right? So the order page is kind of separate. Affiliate page, separate. This is the business to business center. It's kind of like, hey, do you want to be a distributor? Do you want to do business with us? And stuff like that. Like a lot of the time on Facebook, I'll be like, you know, hey, I'm doing this contest, you know, join on board, 70% commissions, etc. I'm just talking like to other business people. I'm not talking to people who might want to use my product. I mean, heck, but Domainer Elite, I got affiliates that do use the, you know, it's kind of, some of my products are business to business, so it'd be like, that's an exception. I mean, when I did Violin Master Pro or Beats 365 or Sonic Producer or any of those sites, it was kind of like, no, people would just buy the product. They weren't like, there wasn't like that crossover, you know what I mean? Because it's like music products and stuff, right? So in the business to business world, like with Domainer Elite, for instance, that's an exception, but you know, still, I mean, when I'm either going to post something, like if I post like, hey, join on board this contest, usually talking to distributors and people who have lists and people who have blogs and want to promote and get commission, you know what I mean? So basically, you do your index, you start to work on writing this stuff, all right? Basically, this is in chronological order as when they're watching this, like they're watching your video sales letter or they're reading down your page. And it's a really long page because there's all these testimonials and stuff like that. I put it in this order. Intro, attention, it's the headline, and then you see the video sales letter, which is a video. Now, you got your video there. It's like 20 minutes long. If the niche is bigger, the VSL is longer, okay? For instance, if you're in a small niche, or if you have, this is also cool, right? If you have an awesome freaking product and you've spent a ton of money on it, your VSL could be shorter. Isn't that weird? I'll give you an example. If you have like this amazing invention and it just shows, like, hey, it's like a bike or something. I don't know, some exercise bike, right? And it's amazing. You got amazing testimonials. People are like losing 10 pounds a minute or something. I don't know. Your VSL could be shorter, right? So for instance, a physical product, the VSL could be shorter. But if it's like an instructional product that might be really good and you might have spent a lot of time on it, but how do you demo an instructional product, right? So that's the idea behind, if it's a bigger niche, your VSL will be longer, your video will be longer. Next, interest. So you're going along in chronological order. It's like intro, video, interest. Hey, my name is Jamie Lewis, and I gained 20 pounds after being a skinny twerp my whole life. Desire, and guess what happened? I started this new diet, etc. And look, it also works for other people, testimonials. And then, all right, so look, I'm gonna make you a deal you can't refuse. Like, it's like a lot of time and money went into this product, but you know, it's cool, we're gonna let it go, fire sale, you buy it if it's like $10, right? I don't know. I've never done any weight loss products or anything like that. So then you've got, once they buy it, then here's your funnel. So here's front end, then upgrade 1, right? Now, some funnels you don't even have like upsells or one-time offers. That's another word for it, right? It'll just be like, hey, like we just promoted this product like 2 months ago, and it was like it was recurring billing every month, and so there weren't any upsells. That's another thing, is like if you want to do like recurring billing every month, then you don't, you know, I don't know, upsells and recurring billing, getting a little greedy, right? So, you know, it's like pick one or the other. So anyway, upgrade 1, VIP upgrade, upgrade number 2, you could do like a live training class. Like the VIP upgrade, you can add a whole bunch of stuff, you know? Because look, you got that stigma or that situation like where people initially on a website, they're going to spend as much as they spend at dinner, you know? Unless they're on someone's list and they're used to spending $3,000 on a front end or something like that, or there's a webinar presentation, and or like I was saying, it's like an amazing product where it is actually worth, it is intrinsic value, and it's actually worth that. Like if it costs like $1,500 to build something, then it might be $4,000. You get the drift, you know, like a car or something. So the VIP upgrade will now release more stuff because we're stuck with that situation where people are only going to spend $20 or something, right? I mean, we're talking about cold traffic, right? So, you know, heck, sometimes stuff is a $1 trial. That's why you see it. You know, like a lot of time, like supplements and stuff like that. It's like, you know, $0. It's for free. Oh, and guess what? It's $10 for shipping. You know, you see a lot of the tactics that people use, right? Well, guess what? They make their money, or else they'd be out of business. They wouldn't be able to afford advertising to get you that product. This is how a lot of those companies make their money, right? So by the time you get to OTO number 2, there's a live training class. That's a really good idea for any software or anything that you're doing on the front. Then the OTO number 3 is like a collection of like replays or something like that from the live training. And then there's a downsell, which is like, all right, you can't afford this stuff. Well, how about this, right? So according to the rules and regulations, like a lot of the time you need to, now that you're dropping the price of this downsell, you also have to drop the value. Like you're not going to get, you know, you'll get half of these collection, etc. Then look, you do a launch, for instance. We'll get into that in an entirely another video. Then you're going to want to jump into a webinar, do a webinar presentation, get all of your new members onto a webinar and sell something really freaking cool that is totally a little bit different than this, but still applies to the people in your industry, right? Then after that, you've got a whole bunch of leads, right? What are you gonna do with your leads? You can do all sorts of stuff, all right? One of the really cool things to do is if you have a YouTube channel, promote your YouTube video or your YouTube videos with your leads first, get people on there, tell them to subscribe there, do a whole bunch of free stuff first, give value, give value, give value, let people know that, hey, you better stay on this list, don't unsubscribe because I produce a lot of stuff, you know what I mean? And you probably want to, you know, not ignore this because coming up with all sorts of cool stuff, you're going to really benefit from it, you know? So after that, then you have the option of like, hey, you've done a webinar, you've sold, I don't know what, you might have like a high-end workshop that you do every Sunday or something like that. Next, you have the option of doing one-on-one coaching, right? You can do that, I don't know, weight loss wise, I guess you could do that, like you could be an exercise guru over like a webcam or something, I'm not sure. But what I do is, this type of thing is what I do in business to business and internet marketing niche and business opportunities niche. Like I have that option, one-on-one coaching, and that's a lot more money than anything that you've ever sold anywhere, right? So that's like the funnel. Remember, you also are going to have like follow-ups, hopefully, like on your front end on the sales page. When someone tries to get off of the sales page, you're probably going to have an exit, right? Like the page that says, wait, don't go. Like, you can get this for $1 or $10 or something, right? So at that point, just opt in. Boom, that sends leads into your Aweber account or GetResponse or MailChimp or Market Hero or whatever you use. And then you can be like, yo, that automatically every day sends out something. Now again, send out stuff that's like, hey, check out my YouTube video, check out my Facebook page. Do all that type of stuff. Give value. Don't just start like sending promotional stuff like crazy, because people will be like, what the hell, dude? So that's a really good thing to remember, is that you're not only people aren't going through the funnel, but you want to retain those leads. And now the good news is, this sounds complicated and everything, but you can actually hire someone, for a modest amount of money, probably like the amount of money that you'd spend on like oil in the winter or something. I don't know, maybe a little bit more than that, but you can hire a really good developer like on Freelancer or Odesk or whatever, and you can have them implement this stuff. Just make sure that I recommend to find a creative person. Like, that's a word that you can use when you're hiring a programmer that will really save you a lot of headache. It can be really annoying, like when you might be creative yourself, right? You come up with ideas, cool. Well, you tell them that, and if they don't have that creative thing going on, they'll be like, wait, no, you have to really spell this out to me. I still don't understand this. So you're like, damn, I've made a video now. I've explained it in text. I've written out a whole briefing, and it's like I gotta hold this person's hand the whole way through. It just sucks. Like, it's great to have someone who's really creative. That's a really good word of advice. All right, so this is the first lesson. I mean, you can see I just flew through it and stuff. There's 100 more of these lessons. You're gonna love advanced online business. All right, thank you very much.